A few lessons ago, we introduced the idea of quadratic inequalities. Lesson 112 continues that idea, so it's quadratic inequalities number 2, lesson number 2. This time, instead of dealing with inequalities that are greater than 0, positive, we're going to deal with inequalities that are negative. So we're going to do 2 examples to explain this concept. First one, x plus 2 times x minus 3 is less than 0, domain equals the reals. Just like we did with the last inequalities, when we are dealing with a multiplication problem, when we had positive greater than 0, we said, well, the way to get a positive answer from a multiplication problem is to either multiply a positive times a positive or a negative times a negative. We're going to use the same logic for less than 0. The way that we get a negative answer is either this is positive and this is negative, or switch. This is negative and this is positive. So here are 2 options. X plus 2 is positive and x minus 3 is negative. So either the first one's positive and the second one's negative, or, well, I don't want to draw that all the way down because we got a graph. Or x plus 2 is negative and x minus 3 is positive. So let's think about this. X plus 2, solve for your x's. X is greater than negative 2 and x is less than 3. Or x is less than negative 2 and x is greater than 3. All right, let's think about these. Are there numbers that are greater than negative 2 and less than 3? Yeah, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, all of those are greater than negative 2, less than 3. Okay, so this one works, good. Now look at this one. X is less than negative 2 and x is greater than 3. You cannot have a number that is less than negative 2 and greater than 3. So no solution for these inequalities on this side. So graph the other one. You should always have one that goes away with these problems, and you should only have to graph this. So we'll graph this just like normal. X is greater than negative 2, x is less than 3, and our domain is the reals, so we just do an open circle on negative 2 and 3 and shade in between them. And that would be how you do this first one. The second one says, x squared plus 2x minus 8 is less than 0, domain is the integers. So first we need to get it to look like this by factoring. So we'll factor this. How can we factor it? It'll be x plus 4, x minus 2. And then less than 0, so I know one has to be positive, one has to be negative. So we'll say x plus 4 is greater than 0, and x minus 2 is less than 0. Or x plus 4 is less than 0, and x minus 2 is greater than 0. Let's solve. X is greater than negative 4, and x is less than 2. Or x is less than negative 4 and x is greater than 2. Look at those 2 and see which one you think is impossible. You should have said this one. You cannot have a number that's less than negative 4 and greater than 2. So that one's impossible, no solution. So we go over here and we graph this one. X is greater than negative 4 and less than 2. We have the integers. You do not, again, have to do open circles when it's integers, but if you'd like to, you can. So 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1. You don't have to number all of them. And then fill in your dots because it's integers. And that's how you do the second example.